All right, we're going to take a look today at an example of finding slant height and then finding the surface area. Now, the unique thing about this one here is that we are looking at a rectangular based pyramid, which means that it's going to have two different slant heights. Okay, so you have to be aware of that. There's two different slant heights that are going to be involved, one for one side, which I already have up on there, and then one for the second side. And so we have to find both those slant heights before we can determine what the surface area is. Let's start with slant height 1. You'll notice it there already on the screen. I've put it in there. I'm using the right-hand side for the slant height. This is the slant height that's going to be associated with the side that is 29 yards long. All right, but the fact of the matter is that when we solve for it, we're going to use Pythagorean Theorem. We have the height. Half the base is not going to be half of 29 in this case. It's going to be half of 52 because that's the length that is the half the base. Okay, and so we have to use 26 for this case. So when we put that in there, we're going to have 50 for our height and 26 for our that B value. And then we can figure out what our slant height 1 is. And slant height 1, we're going to round to about 56.36 yards. So slant height 1, that's going to be that side right there. We're going to use that to find the 29-yard piece. All right, second one is this one right here. We'll call it slant height 2 or S2. So I've just denoted it with a little 2 in the subscript there. And this is going to be the slant height that's associated with the 52-yard side. But again, we're not using the half 52 to solve it. We're going to use half of 29 to solve it. So for slant height 2, we're going to need to use 14.5 as that half piece instead of the 26 that we did in the previous one. When we solve this one, again, you can do this practice and you can try it out by pausing the video and making sure you get the same numbers as I'm going through pretty quick. But it's 52.06 yards, or pretty close to 52 yards. So now we have our two slant heights. It's important. Once we know this, we can now solve for the surface area of this rectangular pyramid. The important thing to remember is that in a rectangular based pyramid, the lateral area is not made up of exactly equilateral triangles. There are two different triangles that we have to find. One of them is going to be this front side, and one of them is going to be the side. So front and back are together, and the two sides, left and right, are together as well. Our formula for finding the surface area of a pyramid is never going to change in my case. We're always going to use the same one. Surface area equals base area plus lateral area. Base area being whatever's on the bottom. So in this case, it's that gray shaded rectangle. And then the lateral area is going to be adding up all of the triangles that make up the sides. So we can use that to solve. All right, now, what is it going to be? Well, here is my calculation. It might be a little bit small for you to see. That's okay. But this is the calculation we have here. The base area is that first bit. It's a rectangle. It's 29 times 52. Okay, so we can solve for that. The second part, I'm looking at the two sides. Okay, so left and right, the 29 by 56.36. So I have two of them. So you'll see that triangle in there, 29 times 56.36 divided by 2. That's the triangle. And then we multiply it by 2 because there are two of them. Now, some of you might see that, well, if we're multiplying and dividing by 2, we actually don't have to do that. It's important that if you recognize that, use it, but don't forget why you did that. So that's going to be for the left and right triangles. The last part there is for the front and back triangles. They're 52, the base of 52, a height or slant height of 52.06 yards, and then we can combine those all together. Now, when you are doing this as a question, you might feel more comfortable by doing each individual part by itself and then combining them all together in the end. That's totally fine. If you want to plug this all into your calculator in one shot and hope you get the right answer, you can do that as well. Whichever you feel most comfortable with, gladly do that. When you do this, you should be getting an answer of about 5,849.56 square yards. That's big. Whew, yeah. I could handle a pyramid like that in my backyard. This is just the size of the pyramid. Again, we're looking at numbers, we're using numbers in trying to solve these types of questions.